world? My name is Nicholas Montez, and you're watching my YouTube channel, The Teenage Movie Critic. Welcome back to my YouTube channel, everybody. I'm so excited to have you back here together again. And in today's video, we're going to be reviewing the live-action Little Mermaid that was directed by Rob Marshall. Now, this was one that was kind of interesting because, on the one hand, I love the original animated film of Little Mermaid. On the other thing, we also have that race swap thing with race swapping Ariel, and it's been causing so much stuff all over the internet. I wasn't really mad about it. I actually was kind of interested to see how this actress was going to portray Ariel. And then, of course, you know, everything else in the way they tell the story, I was interested. So, here's my review for the movie. And I'm going to start out by saying with this movie, I loved it. I thought that this was actually one of the best remakes that Disney's ever done since really Jungle Book, where of course to me most of it feels like Lion King per se, where they do the stuff that you love, but they add a bit of story to it. That kind of clears things up a little bit. To start it off, let's just talk about the obvious thing that this movie gets right, and it's really the performance of Halle Bailey as Ariel. Obviously, like I just said in the first part of this video, the internet has had so many thoughts on this casting. I didn't really care. I was actually interested because I wanted to see, because honestly I can't really imagine a white person playing Ariel, and Halle Bailey has every factor to it, from the emotions that she can perform, and even when she loses her voice, she can emote really well. And even when she sings Part of Your World, she also has an amazing voice. She sings beautifully, and she really lives up to what Jodie Benson did with the original Ariel. I think another great part about this movie, when it comes to other characters, you know, Sebastian, played by Daveed Diggs, who was in Hamilton, who is the teacher in Wonder, and also, I don't think any other, he's also known to be the cast to play the Thing in the MCU. I thought he did good as Sebastian. Not the biggest fan of the way he looked, but I did like the character. Jacob Tremblay as Flounder, pretty great casting because I love Wonder as well. And then of course you got Awkwafina playing Scuttle. I like the character. I thought Awkwafina played her well. Just don't really know why it changed her to a different type of breed of bird and a girl. We'll talk about that when we get into that. I think another great thing about this, also Melissa McCarthy's performance as Ursula, I thought was great. She really added a lot to the character. I also thought the guy that played Prince Eric was pretty good. I guess another great thing about this movie, the relationship between Eric and Ariel was well done than in the animated film. Of course, in the animated film, they're still a cute couple, but in this one, I feel like that's developed, and it's able to have those cute moments between them. And every moment with them, it's like it's fully developed. It's like, I like that it's not just she wants to go on shore because she fell in love with him. No, she actually has love for the surface. She wants to go out and explore the world. And same thing with Eric. He's an explorer. They want to travel. So I thought the way they did the ending was actually quite cool and kind of emotional. And I think another great part is some of the special effects. I actually thought the underwater stuff worked. The designs of the characters, we'll get into the bad, but I did like the underwater stuff of it. And I also really liked the style that Rob Marshall did. This is one of my first times really watching a Rob Marshall film, and in the transitions, the way he really does transitions is really great. Another great part are the songs. Of course, when you get to the original songs, of course, Part of Your World is a great song, sung beautifully. Under the Sea, I was kind of nervous for, but it actually surprised me, as it's able to do all of the colorful stuff with these sea creatures, and it worked for me. Another great part, and this is where I feel like the transitions really worked for Rob Marshall. And then when it gets to Kiss the Girl, I thought that was actually wonderful, and it was able to get cute moments. I thought that song worked. And so honestly, this is one of the first Disney remakes where it's like, I actually liked all the songs. I didn't really think they were bad, and I wasn't cringing, really. And then when it gets to the new songs, I like the Scuttlebutt song, but it has some issues with it. And then I like the new song that we got with Ariel, the Reprise song part 2, plus the new song for the first time. I thought those two songs were actually pretty good. Kind of made you care about Ariel in a much better way. And I guess you could say the last thing I want to talk about here on the good is really just the cultural impact that this movie had. Ever since that first trailer played, I saw all these videos of little black girls reacting to this and saying, "She looks just like me." I'm like, that's awesome. The representation that this film has is absolutely crazy. And, well, not crazy, it's awesome. And even more importantly, I remember when I went to the movie theater to go see this movie on Friday, I saw tons of black families and tons of black girls there, and I was thinking to myself, they're gonna go see Little Mermaid. And to me, that's awesome that a film, honestly, I wasn't really paying attention as to that when I went to go see Wakanda Forever, but the fact that Little Mermaid caused all these people of that race to go see it, it's pretty great. That they're now a part of that now. That we have that original animated film, but now we have this one. And I think that's part of what makes these remakes so great, is that you have that original movie that everybody loves and can be part of the nostalgic stuff, but then you have the remake, where it is for the older fans, but also for the newer ones, and can be part of the other worlds. And I love that. I think the last thing I'm going to talk about here is really the legacy of Jodie Benson. Jodie Benson, you really think about it, her first acting role was The Little Mermaid. I checked on Letterboxd, it was. And you think she's famous just because of that, but she's really not. She's done a lot of stuff besides Ariel, by playing Ariel. She played Barbie in the Toy Story films. She appeared in Enchanted. She also then went back to play Ariel in Wreck-It Ralph 2. And then she makes her cameo in this movie, and I thought it actually worked. And the way that she was supporting Halle Bailey in all of this, it really was so delightful. You never really get stuff like that. I honestly feel like if Robin Williams was alive today, something like this between Robin Williams and Will Smith would probably be going on. I don't know exactly if that would happen, but if it did, it would be awesome. It would be one of the sweetest, kindest things. It would be one of the best duos in history. You got Will Smith, the coolest guy, Robin Williams, the most funniest guy, the delightful guy. Would have been great. But yeah, I love the legacy of Jodie Benson, and that's pretty much the good on this one. Now let's move on to the bad. So when it comes down to the bad, I feel like this movie does a lot of great stuff where you're able to have those great moments of that original movie, as well as add some story elements to it. I think the first problem, it also has a bit of problems. I think the first one, Javier Bardem's performance as King Triton is really bad. I did not buy him as King Triton at all. I really didn't. Mainly because one of the things, obviously King Triton is a very serious character, but in the original film, when he's angry, you know it. He's this mighty king of the sea, and you could tell when he's happy, and in this film, he's just playing the role too seriously, and I just couldn't really buy into it. And of course, King Triton in the animated film says some things that are pretty dark about, one less human to worry about. And he's like, "You should have let him drown. They killed your mother. All humans are the same." He's saying it so seriously with no emotion at all. I guess I did kind of like certain scenes that happen at the end of the movie, but I was not a fan of Javier Bardem. I would say he's the worst casting of the film. I think another thing about this movie, the character designs. The character designs of Sebastian and Flounder are horrendous. Now, I will say this, there were some cute stuff with Flounder at the beginning of the movie. After that, I didn't care for Flounder at all. It's like he was kind of just there. And he was just like, because he's a real fish, you just have to put him back into water, otherwise he's useless. He can't really be taken out of water that much. So, yeah, and plus he's played by Jacob Tremblay, and he's one of my favorite. He's one of my favorite people because of Wonder, what he did with Wonder. If you don't know what movie I'm talking about, go look it up. It's a great movie. And then Scuttle, the Scuttlebutt song. When it comes to the new songs in here, wasn't a fan of them. The Eric song just didn't feel like it needed to be needed. It's like I liked it. I don't like the way it was visualized, and I also don't think it was needed. It felt like the Evermore song for Beauty and the Beast, where I feel like that song actually worked. This one just felt like they switched the stuff of Ariel and Eric being in love with each other, except Eric was the more one that was in love with Ariel. Kind of dumb, if I'm being honest. When it comes to, and then of course, you also got the Scuttlebutt song. It was a bop, and I understand you wanted to bring in the stuff of Lin-Manuel Miranda's work in here, but at the end, like, don't get me wrong, I love Lin-Manuel Miranda, Moana music, Hamilton, In the Heights. His music is great, even Vivo. I don't really know if his music works for a Little Mermaid film. And even though I thought the song was great, I feel like didn't really need to be in this moment of the film, didn't really need to be there. So, and her interactions with Sebastian was great. I also think maybe there were certain plot lines, like the way they kind of switched certain stuff up, of like the shipwreck and the statue sequence, kind of like the way King Triton finds out about the shipwreck, that they went to the shipwreck, that they skip over the seagull part because Scuttle's not a seagull anymore. She's now like this bird. Plus they changed her gender and said she makes her a bird that goes underwater. I feel like that was so dumb because they literally could have gone to the shore. I guess they wanted to do this because they wanted to make that scene where she goes and visits Eric on the boat, her going up to the surface, they wanted to make it very impactful, which it was, and I thought they did a great job at doing that. I just didn't think that the way that they set that up was very good. And even in the scene of her getting the statue in the grotto, they still don't find out as to how they put the statue in the grotto. And even then, it doesn't really make sense as to why they still have it when she's not really in love with Eric until you get to the land, until you get to the shore. And even that part, like, I like that she still is about, they differ, her perspective of that stuff is great. At the same time, I'm thinking, if you're not in love with Eric, why do you have this statue in here? That's all my little thoughts. I know it cut off weird stuff with my phone, but that's pretty much all my thoughts on it. And I think the stuff with Ursula turning big, I like that. Wish we could have gotten more of that. Wish we could have gotten more of that big squid stuff. Wish we could have seen her face, but... Alright, so that's it for my scores. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. All my social media stuff is in the about section over there. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.